Hello and welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP's fans come to congregate and fanboys fear to tread. How are we doing this weekend, guys?
What's going on?
Yeah, it's been a...
I'm present.
You're present? Yeah. Max had a party Friday night. He still has a party. He's still having a party, more or less.
Yeah.
He still
left. And I'm Irish, so like if I'm really still hungover on the Sunday, let me just put it to you this way: it was a free bar.
Oof.
Okay. That Amazon driver that was stalking me has now pulled up and he's getting something off, or he's giving something to them. Oh, okay. Your one has big boobs, though. Oh well.
Gotta weigh them down.
Yeah, just have a look at it. Yeah, you can't beat it. Bikes, beer, and boobs. Life's complete.
There you
go. Anyway, so I suppose we'll open the show with I suppose the whole KTM, Jorge Martin, Marc Marquez, and some of the comments that we got off some of the things about Marc bashing. I don't ever bash Marc. I will happily and openly say Marc is one of the best MotoGP riders ever. But I've openly said that I do not like his antics. I wouldn't be... If I was choosing my friend, someone like that is not someone who I choose to hang around with a personality the way he is. Not Marc bashing, just personal choice. If he does good, I say he does good. And if he does shit or is acts the bollocks, I say he acts shit and acts the bollocks.
Yeah.
So some of the people saying, Joe, we're giving out about him. We're not, like I said it after the last race. Marc's move was mega. Wasn't dirty.
Oh, I know.
Wasn't anything. Was really, really good. So if I was a Marc hater, I'd be like, oh well, it was okay. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it was
never bashed.
That's
Marc.
Not bashing though. If you complimented him.
Exactly. So where people get
we gave him hell for towing. We gave him hell for smashing into somebody to pass him. I call it bash passing. We always said he's one of the greatest of all time.
He is, and to be fair to him, now there's so many opinions and options open, and we're right at the peak of silly season in my view. We're seeing people, how would I say, making up stories for the sake of making up a story. So like we know Jorge Martin is quite an aggressive person when he knows what he wants to do. And there was an article came out the other day and it was like, Jorge Martin gives Ducati until the 2nd of June to make their decision. Now, Ducati have already come out and said that we expect to make the decision at Mugello, which is what weekend? Weekend of the 2nd of June.
That's in June, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're just like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Or else he's going to go and talk to KTM. Now, in yesterday's, or i.e. today's video, Martin and Marquez, Pit Buyer has kind of said, oh, we don't know, are they really realistic and whatever, right? There's only one person in this paddock who I do genuinely believe, and that's Davide Bravio, right? And what he has said is everyone is talking to everyone, and they're just waiting for the linchpin to be pulled. And the linchpin is that 2nd Ducati factory seat. The minute that's announced, everything else is going to fall down into place and whatever, right? Now, if I was Jorge Martin, I would expect my manager to have every single deal possible on the table for me to decide. If I don't want to wait for Ducati, I have my decisions and I know what decisions that I have to make. Not literally turn around to him and say, go over there to KTM and start talking now because it's gone past the 2nd of June. Do you know what I mean? He already has that preliminary offer or whatever that he can pull. He can pull the pin whenever he wants to. And I genuinely think it. I'm hearing an awful lot of reports from Spain that Marini is trying to get out of the Repsol Honda 2-year deal. I also hear Mir is trying to get out, and an awful lot of people believe Joe Roberts is going to go into Trackhouse Racing. It makes very much commercial sense with Trackhouse Racing, Liberty Insurance. I just don't think he's ready.
And they're going to keep Miguel there? You don't think Joe Roberts is ready?
I don't think so. Realistically, Joe has had a good start to the season. The tires seem to be suiting him. He went to Altrans from American Racing, and he was in the downward spiral in American Racing. Went to Altrans, didn't perform. He came back. They dumped Rory Skinner. I don't know if you remember that. A lot of English people would be very upset with the fact that they dumped him, because Rory Skinner would have been in a prime spot to have a really good ride in British superbikes, but they pulled him to Moto 2. So, for me, he's had a couple of good races. He's a good rider. Would you put him into MotoGP? If I was signing the check now, it would be no. I haven't seen enough from him.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? He's no longer in the lead of the championship, lads. He was going into the last race, and he had an okay race. Do you know? So for me, I think
he's in second.
He's in second. He was in first. How many points is he behind now?
4.
So, but yeah, look, it's just, for me, it makes sense. 100%, it makes sense, and it would be good PR and whatever for Liberty and Trackhouse. But it just depends. Are these going to be? How would I say? Is this going to be another LCR Honda deal where they just have a Japanese rider on the bike just for the sake of having a Japanese rider? Are they going to have American?
It's PR.
If it is, then I would actually be more worried about that than anything else, because what that really says is that it doesn't really matter whether you can be at that level or not. You're there because of your passport, which is one of the killer things in Formula One. You're there because of the finances that you bring, or who your daddy is, not because of your talent. But yeah, anyway, look, I think this week and next week, definitely, coming into the race this weekend it is this weekend, isn't it, Catalonia?
Yep.
Yeah. This is going to be a very interesting race weekend. I would be putting serious money on Mark on this one. Just the way with the corners are. If you know what I mean, it will be interesting to see how he copes with that.
It's a left-handed circuit too, isn't it?
No.
Okay.
But it's one of those low grip tracks. If the temperature gets up, it's greasy. And one of the things I've been really impressed with Mark was how he can conserve his tires compared to others. Do you know what I mean? He's not spinning it up as much as I thought he would. So he's adapted, not fully yet. Do you know what I mean? When he gets under pressure, he goes back into his Honda, try and drive it through the corner. But when he gets clear air and he can just run laps and get the flow going, he closes the gap very, very quickly. So it will be interesting. It will also
drive it through the corner pretty well when he goes over that edge, right? And he goes back the way. He seems to be able to somehow drive that through that corner pretty well. Do you notice it? Surprisingly, it's like a different animal. But anyhow, go ahead.
Yeah. He's
I think he's finding his own style. It's a mix between his style, the Honda, and the Ducati, how the bike handles and the power, all that good stuff.
Yeah. No, look, I think like I'm interested to see how he'll do it, but I'm also very interested. I'm also very interested to see how Jorge Martin will manage this weekend, because he's openly come out and said, "I wouldn't mind having Marc Marquez as a teammate," which is a very big statement, I would think, to make. Do you know what I mean? Because basically, from my point of view, he's already trying to start mind games with Marc, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Like publicly saying, I don't mind you being my teammate, which in realistic terms is me saying as a rider, I'm not worried about you because I know I can beat you. Does that make sense?
And who? That's Martin. Martin saying that.
Martin saying that about Marc. Yeah.
I think he can. He has raw speed. I don't think Marquez. I don't know. I don't think his raw speed is there, but it's. I don't know.
I'd be honest about Le Mans. Another 2 laps, and Marc had both of them.
Okay.
That's my genuine thing, right? And it's not about raw pace and speed, right? Because you can only do that for a certain number of laps, right?
Right.
You know, Marc was probably the most consistent I saw him those last 5 or 6 laps. So I was like on the money, which is not a Marquez thing. Marc is normally kind of on the Honda was normally quite leery. Do you know what I mean? And when the tire started to go, he just drove it through it, but he didn't have to drive the thing. And this is where I found it very interesting that his tire, when conserving the tire, was really, really good. Martin, I think Martin again needs to have another good weekend. Now, I was looking at an interesting thing during the week. How many points this season is Pecco behind what he scored at this point last season?
A lot.
Yeah. Oh.
I think it's like half, right?
I'd say
how many points has Pecco scored at this point this season? What is to this point last season? What's the difference? Do you know?
I say half, but you said I'm going to stay with that, but I know that's not right.
He's at 20.
3. That's it.
40 points.
23.
He is 3 points behind where he was this time last year.
Oh, 3. Wow.
Really?
Now, Jorge Martin is about 49 points ahead of where he was this time last year.
Ooh.
So one is improving, one is the same.
Staying the same. Right. And as we know with Pecco, his first part of the season is normally shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's normal for him. Yeah.
It's like he plans it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just found it interesting though. When I was looking at it, it's like it's not that Pecco has performed any worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really, like, you know what I mean? It's just Jorge Martin has performed far better. if you get me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, I think Marc only needs like 4 or 5 more points, and he will equal his total from last year.
Oh wow, that's really good.
So that kind of shows you the trouble that things that Honda were in last year, and obviously he missed races and stuff.
I don't understand why they signed him for another 2 years. I don't get that.
Who?
Pecco.
Why?
Why not?
I'm not a. To be honest, I don't see it. I think Martin and Marquez would be better.
He won 2 titles. He's consistent. Really, over a whole year, he's consistent. Yeah.
Like Pecco is.
Yeah.
Look, Pecco is very fast, right? Oh. And I think there is a credible thing to be said that Pecco is Italian, in an Italian team.
Yes. Passport.
Yeah. But Trackhouse isn't a US team. They're just a satellite company. Do you know what I mean? This is a manufacturer, and it's different. Do you know what I mean? In that now, that's just my view. Like, you know, but saying that, he would be one of the fastest Italian riders out there.
Yeah.
Name another fastest rider, faster Italian rider.
There isn't one.
Okay, so it's not just passport, right? But yes, you're right. They would want.
That's what it looked like. They want an Italian rider.
Well, if you look at their philosophy, right, and the European philosophy,
out to, you know what I mean?
Well, no, like,
you know,
like, okay, you look at Ducati, right? Everyone in the team, senior management, everyone speaks Italian. Okay, test rider speaks fluent Italian. No, nothing gets lost in communication there, right? Look at Aprilia. Same sort of deal going on there, right? Lorenzo Savadori, Italian. What does he speak? Italian. What's the manufacturer? Italian. You know, KTM bucked the trend slightly with Danny, but they do have other majority of their makeup would be of Spanish employees, by the way. But again, for me, when I look at things, like with Yamaha and Honda, you know, test riders speak English, just translated to Japanese, and I don't know, man, but something gets fucking lost in the communication. You know, we're not doing well. Everything's great.
No, I don't think that it doesn't hinder that much. You mean, you know?
I think it does. You watch Marquez now, and you might watch the majority of them. They're getting off, right? And this is how I know shit has gone down, right? In every manufacturer now, watch when the lads get off the bike. Whereas before, you used to sit down and talk to your engineer and do this. Now they're talking into a little fucking walkie-talkie, right? Yes, that's going into the engineer's headsets. It's going into everyone else's headsets, and you can be guaranteed that every word out of his mouth is fucking recorded. There's no space now anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I can tell you that only came in one or two teams, but for majority of the teams now have it. Everyone has it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, when I'm looking at it, Joe, there is a serious thing within it within the Italians. They're very much so keeping it within the thing. Saying that, you know, and this is one of the things that I always love about Ducati, right? If Ducati were worried about Martin, he would be on last year's bike. Regardless of contracts. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of huh?
What do you mean if they were worried about it?
If they were worried about him winning the championship, or in the way of, like, how would I say, favoring the Italian, right? Favoring the famous son, they would have literally have kicked him off or not kicked him off, but, like, for example, you'd see it in Formula One. You have a number one and a number two driver, right? And if they didn't necessarily want Martin or Bastianini or fucking whomever to be Pecco, they would engineer it that way.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're giving Martin the exact same equipment.
Right.
Like, I had to look at their bikes from Le Mans, and I was struggling to find any differences.
Yeah.
Now that's visually okay. That's fair enough. Who knows what's going on behind the?
Well, that's conspiracy people thinking that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's actually the same. And you know, when the title fight gets down, like the last few title fights that we did see, again, we saw them all having the same equipment. Whoever was battling for the championship had the same updates and equipment. And you know, Mark did get, and so did the other VR 4016. Mark did get the new exhaust for the rear exhaust. He did get that update on the butterfly valve at the back. Basically, the exhaust is about 6 inches longer at the back of the bike than it was. don't know exactly what it's going to do, really, but everyone got it. Do you know what I mean? So the 23 bikes are all being treated the same. The 24 bikes are all being treated the same. I suppose for me, like, I actually don't mind who ends up where. Do you know what I mean? I've heard an awful lot of rumors now that and this has been going on. We've heard that Gresini have been bought by Honda. Nadia did come out and say, "Would people stop saying that? We're not going to Yamaha."
That's not good.
Then obviously Pramac has not been announced, and I'm really hearing a lot of stuff now that that Yamaha are with Pramac.
But then I heard also that they shot that deal down.
They have, but see, their conundrum that they're in is that the conundrum that they're in is that Mark wants a 2025 Ducati.
Mm-hmm. Right,
and
they could put him on the Pramac then. What's the
I am waiting till Mugello, and if there's no announcement at Mugello about Pramac, there's something fucking up. If that makes sense.
Yeah, they're going too long.
They're going too long. Like, he's been saying for months now that, oh yeah, it's a done deal. We're happy, everything is done. And then, like, look, there's no smoke without fire. What I've heard in the jigs and the reels is that Pramac is supposed to be now gone to Yamaha. One of the people that they are looking to bring in there to that factory team is the Iannone, which I don't know. Is that going to happen into Pramac Yamaha? I've also then heard that Gresini will get one factory bike, and VR46 will get the other.
That makes sense.
So Martin goes to factory Ducati next to
Pecco.
Next to Pecco. Mark gets a 25 bike in Gresini, and Bezzecchi gets a 25 bike in VR46.
So Martin goes.
Yeah, that's that I heard originally, but then that deal got shot down. It's been
but now, and then Bastianini is supposed to be in Aprilia. Mir is supposed to be in Trackhouse. There was one more.
Marini?
No. Rins. Trackhouse.
So Marini's going to stay?
Oh, Rins in the Trackhouse. I'd like to see that.
Now, look, everyone is linking those two again with similar to Mir because of Brivio. I think it would be a really, really, really good thing for Davide Brivio, because he like to get a known thing. Now, look, that if that does happen, that puts everyone's American racing and Joe Roberts thing under an awful lot of pressure. You know, I don't.
So no Rins and Joe? Rins and Joe?
Either Rins and Joe, or like I would definitely think that if Brivio gets his way, I think he'll want to put back his dream team of riders, which was Rins and Mir. He absolutely loved those two boys. Do you know what I mean? So
Rins and Mir. The
ex-Suzuki package.
Oh man.
Because look, at the end of the day, right? And Brivio did say this. He's like, we're not here to be an Aprilia junior team.
Okay.
So they're here for results and whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And when I look at Trackhouse racing in the States, and they're trying to grow popularity in the States, yes, an American rider may help, but if he's at the back of the fucking grid, ain't gonna fucking help, is it? Do you know what I mean? So look, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in the next couple of weeks. Are going to be mega in my view of like there's so much of a fucking cesspit of shit coming out of this. Like anytime that
oh my god,
like I read press releases and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, I can't believe he just fucking said this. Like, you know what I mean? And
like everybody's been confirmed everywhere twice.
Yeah,
I've seen people like with one thumbnail and another thumbnail next to it, and they're both confirmed at 2 different places.
Yeah, 2 bums in 1 seat. Yeah, that's what we've always. But that's the perfect silly season, if I'm very honest. Right?
It's never been this way as long as I can remember. Not this early.
And just for my friend out there, I can honestly say this is honestly one of the most honest, important conversations that I've honestly ever had with anyone, and I'm really honest when I say that. Someone complained about me saying honestly, so just that was just for them. Anyway, yeah, look, it is going to be interesting the way so many different things have been confirmed, and things are nearly to the peak. But I'm kind of more leaning that like if anyone's going to get it out of Martin or Marquez to the main factory Ducati team, I think it's more so going to be Martin.
Not Mark.
No. Unless they can solve one of the biggest things that we said this a couple of weeks ago. What's the biggest problem they're going to have to solve?
Attitude.
Nope. That comes. Nope. It's one of the world's biggest battles at the moment.
Jake.
Yep. Man, any ideas?
Ukraine?
Nope.
I didn't even got that far.
What are you drinking there, Red Bull? What are you drinking?
Sponsor.
No.
Let me not say that.
Is the drink? He's talking about the drink sponsorships because they clash.
Yep. Who signed a 5-year deal with Monster Energy?
Who is the Monster? See, that's not really worth that much.
Mark
is Red Bull. Mark is a Red Bull athlete and has been for years.
Yeah.
Like years. Like they pulled their sponsorship off of the fucking Honda when he left. Right? Do you know what I mean?
We'll take this with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And Monster Energy, I think it's 5 years with a 5-year deal with the Ducati Lenovo team as one of their main.
Oh yeah, sponsors. So he can't do that then.
And that's a massive hurdle. Now, will it happen? Like that's why I'm more favoring
Martin
to it, if that's the way they're going to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like again, and this is why I'm kind of like thinking of it then, like if Martin is turning around and publicly going out and saying, no, I don't know, has this even been verified by it, but someone, I can't remember what place came out and said Martin has given them to the 2nd of June. Like, and as a team manager, right? Why the fuck would you bring him into your team? Do you know what I mean? Are you going to tell me how to run my team and how I should do my fucking job?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. You're fucking not.
That would start right off the bat.
It would. Do you know what I mean? And anyone who knows anything about Ducati Lenovo or Ducati full stop, it's Gigi's way.
Yeah.
The buck fucking stops that you do not question him. Do you know what I mean? And yes, a rider can be pissed off and annoyed and whatever, right? But you can be 100% guaranteed Gigi will slap the shit out of you if you carry on the way you're doing it. You don't even with Bastianini, who, let's be fair. If you were a Pecco fan in 2022, Bastianini was a prick, an absolute prick. Do you know what I mean? He was riding way too close to Pecco and all of this and that and the other, But when he moved into that factory team, he pulled his fucking weight as well. Do you know what I mean? He kept stunned. There was nothing from him of this stuff that he was kind of known for, or getting his manager to speak. Like Pernat is a really, really vocal manager. Do you know what I mean? We've heard absolutely zero from him in complaints or whatnot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know, so there's definitely a difference between the management team in Pramac or Grassini compared to thing. But no.
Yeah, really. Is like if Ducati catching shit constantly or on his toes, worrying about the Dorna up his ass 24/7 or trying to cut his balls off, he's not going to take any shit. You know, if you're catching shit from somebody else, shit runs downhill. So he's always walking around with a chip on his shoulder, waiting for somebody to give him crap. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the team thing, though. Maybe that's, you know, when you're in a certain team. I'm trying to think of another writer doing this, but maybe he has to do that within Pramac. But you know, he'll go to Lenovo and they have more support, so now he can kind of, you know, chill out a little bit. You know, let them do. You know,
I think I don't know. I think the restrictions come on you more as when you're a factory rider, and like let's look at this the other way, right? Realistically, Jorge Martin is a Ducati rider, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's paid by Ducati. He's not paid by Pramac. Do you know what I mean? His contract is a Ducati contract. He is just stationed in that team. Do you know what I mean? And it's like for me, the only one or the odd one out here is Mark and Alex Marquez. Do you know what I mean? Like Bezzecchi's contract, he is with VR46, but he's contracted to the VR46 team. Do you know what I mean? I still think there is a lot of Ducati influence in his contract.
But you mentioned it, by the way. Marquez went through all this problems with the crashing and the injuries and everything else, and now he says he's happy as a pig and shit, you know, with the brother, you know, there in Grassini. Finally found his happiness again.
Mm-hmm.
If he has that 25 bike and he figures, they promise him, say, listen, we're going to do all the engineers that they have, you know, all the same bike, same engineering back at the factory. Why not stay?
Well, that's known entity. That is the thing, but currently they will have to change the contract of Grassini.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, if you ask them today, can you have a 25 bike? The answer is no by contract. Because they can change the contract. They certainly can.
So they have a couple of lawyers lying around somewhere.
But to change that contract, though, they will have to get rid of Pramac. That's the problem.
Whoa. We're talking about Mark Marquez. Mark Marquez on Grassini. Wouldn't he have to?
Jake, but they can't run 6 fucking 25 bikes.
That's right. I keep forgetting that you can't. I have this tough time.
No, they can.
Yeah.
They can, but it's not logistically possible. And even KTM came out during the week and said that the optimum amount of bikes is 4. 6 would probably stretch people too far.
Mm.
So, and they did, like Ducati did run 5 bikes. I'm not sure if you remember, but they did run 5 factory bikes at one stage, and then they cut it back to 4 last year.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure they're going to stretch it to 6. And like realistically, right, if they had to just say Pramac did stay and they had Lenovo and Pramac, that's 4. And then Mark stamps his feet and says, I want that 25 bike. And they go, okay, Mark Marquez, you can have one. Rossi's going to fucking stamp his feet as well for Bezzecchi to get one. Do you know what I mean? And if they give it to Grassini, you're going to have to give it to VR46, or VR46 will fuck off, do you know? And what we do know is that they want to keep the 8 bikes with the grid. So, like, that's one of the program directors or whatever, his goal is to keep.
Mistake, by the way. Yeah.
Huh?
I think that's a mistake.
But no, they want to keep things as they are. Maybe it's a good revenue earner for them. I don't know. The other interesting news was KTM's 850cc, and they were looking at doing the inline 4.
The way they're whittled the freaking the way they dumbed down the that engine, yeah, it might work.
Well, your man reckons, whatever his name is, Sealy, I can't remember his name. He reckons anyway that it's going to be between 30 to 40 brake horsepower less than the current engines.
I've heard
That's
more
what
than
their
that.
estimate.
I've heard more than that.
Well, he's a KTM engineer, so
Yeah,
take his word for it.
They meant across the board for
Maybe that's the sweet spot, the inline with less power.
Maybe it is.
I was looking at those old races. That inline when it's less power, it seems like they work better, like in the corners and everything else. Like, I don't know.
It's definitely going to be interesting. Like the inline 4 with less aero might do it. I don't know. But I just thought it was interesting though that he turned around. Now I'm naturally suspicious by nature anyway, right? So then I was like, is he just spoofing just to put everyone down the wrong road, or to have the? Let's wait and see. Look, they have already got decided on what way they're going to go. So it will be interesting, I suppose, to see what happens with it.
Yeah, they also cut the gearbox down for the amount of gear ratios they're allowed to use.
Yeah.
Well, what happens is if you can't
no top speed, lower top speed,
you get the sweet spot because you don't have enough gearing, right? And you got to use more torque. So if you use more torque, you're losing more horsepower. Yeah.
I think like I still don't believe for 1 second MotoGP will be slower than World Superbikes. Don't think so.
Oh, everybody's saying it is. I've yet to hear anybody say it's going to be, it's not. So.
They'll just change the tires in World Superbikes. Slow down. Simple. Guaranteed. 100%. It's going to come.
Change the tires in World Superbike.
Yeah, just make it a harder compared tire, and that's it. Done. Summed up.
That's a hell of a way to do something,
But it's fucking logical because you don't change any regulations. You just change tires. Easy.
Yeah, that's
that's
all for doing the best you can. Be the best you can. Crap.
Yeah, but best you can on a standard, or what's supposed to be a standard bike.
Yeah. Yeah, even on a standard bike, they're cutting the tires down. You know what I mean? They're cutting it down. But it just.
Yeah, look, that's what they will look to do. Do I agree with it? No, I would prefer. Like, I'm actually more worried about the riders than the actual regulation change. Because the other way now, like.
Well, yeah, it's going to put them more in danger.
Nope, not that danger. But they're all going to have to be pencil thin. Little Danny Pedrosas. As Simon Crafar once called it, midget racing. Because, you can, like, if you're 5 kilos heavier than the average rider, that's 5 kilos you're going to have to carry around. Do you know what I mean? And it's with a little bit of grunt, you can kind of overcome that, say, personal issue. Do you know what I mean? And I just think we're going to be seeing the riders dieting more.
Even more.
And that's where I'm worried about these guys. Yes, they're super fit athletes. I get it. I'm an old fat bastard sitting down here worried about skinny people racing around the place. But saying that, the conditions, the heat, everything, the dehydration these lads go through during a race, I'm sure they drop a couple of kilos in a race. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And if you're already at 4 or 5% fat,
Right.
And you drop that much, surely that can't be safe.
Yeah, and they're little to begin with. Their structure is small, so that percentage is greater when you're doing that.
Yeah. But it was, look, I don't fear the changes at all. I don't necessarily agree with some of them, but look, at the end of the day, some of the things are getting out of control, so they have to curb them. I get it. Not necessarily agreeing with it, but
is that where the weight limit comes in at, where instead of a rider trying to get as small as possible, everyone has an average weight, so the smallest guy will have to add weight to his bike. The heavier guy will, maybe he doesn't have to diet as much, lose as much.
See, like that's where I think it's like, for me, it's like going back to the 250cc days, right? Where if any fella with a bit of chunk in his ass, he was going to struggle, and one of the, like, I don't like talking about him because he's always a whinge, but like Scott Redding is a very good rider, right? But he's a whinge, right? And like, he does make some good points in World Superbikes about, the heavier riders. Like, he's naturally heavy. Like, if you went up and picked the side of him, do you know what I mean? You wouldn't find fat. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not a fatter any way, shape, or form of beast. So you're kind of like, look, this guy is as lean as he can go. Right. Do you know what I mean? He's a very good rider, and we risk losing him because of his size. And I think just with MotoGP has just brought that to another extreme level with the 850cc's, is that no one can recover with grunt now. Do you know what I mean? Or you make a, like, I believe with the 850s, quarter speeds are going to increase. Do you know what I mean? It's going to get faster. So coming out of the corner, there's not going to be that you're going to be using the speed through the corner. So I don't know. I just think it's dangerous in a way that the lads are going to go through, because they can't afford to be any heavier than anyone else, because they don't have the horsepower to recover. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but
somebody's gonna faint. But
yeah, but let's just hope they don't faint at 200 miles an hour. That's my only concern.
I'm for it. I wish they would. I like the weight, because it's, everyone weighing the same with the bike, with the whatever, because I think it's more so on skill at that point. There's no advantages. If you take all the advantages out, it's just purely skill, right? Which I think that's what it's about. Skill. This is a skill thing. Who has the best, whatever line, who can use this bike the best without any advantages. So
yeah, so it is interesting.
Then you have one, but you can't balance it out for the whole. What happens when you have one heavy, you're taking one heavy guy and you're changing all the rules for one guy.
Oh yeah. That's that is the other side of it. Like, if you had the bit of engine grunt there, do you know what I mean? Yes, sure, he's still at a slight disadvantage, but if you had an extra 40 or 50 brake horsepower pushing that 5 kilos, it will reduce the gap slightly. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I just think it will be. I think look. That's only the only thing I'd be nervous about. Those bikes are hot, racing in hot weather. You know what I mean? Low meat on their bones. Recipe for disaster, if you ask me. But
only eating fruit all weekend, and it's hot as shit.
Fruit is a load of sugar, so you couldn't be
load of sugar, so you can't eat that. What can you eat?
Yeah. So lettuce.
Lettuce. That's it.
Lettuce. Yeah. and suck on.
Okay, back to something you said. Didn't you say that Rins wanted out? Looking at Rins going to Trackhouse.
Hmm.
I thought Rins was still in contract.
No, he's only a 1-year contract.
Really? Okay, that's good news.
Do you think he's unhappy? Is that even better to go to Trackhouse?
He's going to
maybe just can't.
Honda. No.
You talking about Mir? Yeah, Rins.
Yeah, no. Rin's going to Trackhouse. There was a thing, and that's what I was saying a while ago. It's just like Mir and Rins, Davide Brivio's two boys back in the thing. He hasn't known. Like, there's a lot. There is a lot to say that. You know, he would like to bring those guys in because they're known. They're no known quantity to him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
For them, it's a better bike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably better than the Yamaha. So
yeah, well, I would 100% love to see what Rins would be like on the Aprilia. Yeah. I just think he would just gel with it. I just think it's one of those, but
right lines,
like Jorge Martin and Alex Rins leaning off a bike are the two riders that I absolutely fucking love to see. 100%. Can tell you now, it's just their positioning on the bike. I'm just sitting there and just like in awe of them, and just like,
how is that? Yeah, you always look. They don't just start looking at the rubber, the tire, going, "How's that holding under the ground?"
Exactly, and you're just like,
God damn.
Yeah, and it's just something that fascinates me. That's all.
On the edge, and then they're like on the paint, those lines. It's like, how is that not? How is a tire not just about to give out?
Yeah. They also reckon that Maverick Vinales has had a major bucks offer from Honda. I mean, major bucks.
Really? Hasta la vista, baby.
I wouldn't do it.
Like Honda is
$1,000?
But I would stay.
No.
In a recent interview, I saw Vinales given. He talked about the only reason that he comes to this, the only motivation that comes for him to come to the track is to win races. And he said, if I look at my life, I'm financially secure. Yep. So this is why when I heard that, I was kind of like a pinch of salt. And then I was kind of to myself after, as I said, I'm naturally suspicious. Was that kind of a message just to say to Honda, for example, I've already got enough money, do you know what I mean? You need to, if you really want me to take on this challenge, throw another 10 million onto it. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's the opposite. Look at Marini. Yeah. Marini is over there, and he's
trying to get out.
He's trying to get out. I mean, that's a sign right there. You know, it's not about the money. You know,
it's like House of Cars. Get out.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's it. Excuse me. It's kind of funny in a way. Now, not for Marini, obviously, but he is the only main rider to have not scored a point this season. If you look at the championship right now, he's not getting on with the Honda. And look, that does happen. You know, I've thrown my leg over a motorbike, ridden it down the road, and went, yuck. Do you know what I mean? Don't like how it feels. X. Do you know what I mean? And we park that in the shed, and we won't ride that one again. Do you know what I mean? And unfortunately for Vinales, it's too late, or for Marini, it's too late to make that decision on a MotoGP bike until you're contracted. So, but look, I would think he's pretty safe. Now, for me, that puts Digi Antonio under an awful lot of pressure. Do you know what I mean? Because if Marini can break the contract, I can see him going back to BR46.
I'm sure he wants to go back.
Oh, fucking right. Would you go back to last year's Ducati or stay this year's Honda?
Oh, yeah.
He was doing a lot better than he is now. He had some points.
He had some points, yeah. I think he had a podium and all at this stage. I think, I can't remember. But no, look, that's kind of, but that puts Di Giannantonio under a bit of pressure if he's coming back, because unless he raises his game a small bit, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. We know Augusto Fernandez is in trouble. Now, like, I tell you this, right? I was actually only thinking it the other day. If I could put it in the dream team of things, right? What I would love to see is I would love to see Mark and Martin at KTM. I would love to see Pecco and anybody. Wouldn't really necessarily Pecco and Bezzecchi, and then what's his name? Bastianini and Rins in Aprilia. They were. I was just sitting down the other day, and I was like, "How much battling?" Because, like, I think Rins and Bastianini like edge grip,
right,
and flow through the corners, right. So I think they would really suit the Aprilia, right.
Okay.
I think Mark and Martin. I think that relationship within the team would just be fucking fireworks, right? And the only team able to not even contain it, right? Probably to encourage it would be KTM. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at KTM's history of just having riders going fucking at it, or dumping riders, or how they treat their riders. They're not like, good boy, well done, you know. It's more so, you need to do better. Come on, pull your finger out of your arse now and get going. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I just think that relationship between Mark and Martin would be quite fiery, but it would also push the performance. And then you have someone like Danny Pedrosa in the background, right, who's very calm and calculated and whatever. And he's developing a really good bike for those lads to go out and just fucking rip it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think their styles, you know what I mean, they're both aggressive riding styles, right? And the KTM engine, for example, is fucking brilliant. And the only one we've seen actually really use it this year is Acosta. Like, I would love to see two real aliens battling together on one or the same manufacturer.
They'd have three aliens in there. They'd have three aliens.
Pedro.
Yeah, and Pedro and Gasgas. And go from there. Do you know what I mean? Like, realistically, from what Pit Byres has said in his interview, like, Jack is in trouble for his MotoGP seat, and so is Augusto Fernandez. I'm a big fan of Augusto Fernandez, as I was last year, and when I said that he was going to stay, people laughed at me. Yeah. And I'll be very, very critical this year. He doesn't deserve it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would not be surprised, and I like the guy, but I would not be surprised if he didn't make it past Mugello on the bike.
Huh?
His performances, Augusto's performances.
You think they'll pull him?
Well, what are you going to lose?
I would just
put who are they going to put in place?
Yeah,
of him?
That's the big question. Do you know what I mean? That is the big question. Do you bring Pole back?
Nope. Nope.
You're gonna be worth the damn.
Right, exactly.
I don't know. Do you bring Danny in for more rides?
I'll bring Danny in.
You know, look, there's so many options. There is options there.
Danny faster than anything, Paul. Now, I bet you Danny's damn close to the pole speed. I think he's gonna.
I think he is, but I will be honest. I don't think Danny has any inclination to race properly. You know, so I don't think he'll have. But like, saying that, like, he's over a second off the pace. Do you know what I mean? Do you bring a young Moto 2 fella up for a year? Do you know what I mean? And be like, listen, you can race this for 6 months.
Can you do that?
I don't know. They can, yeah. They can do whatever. They can do whatever they want. Like realistically, there has to be some performance-based clause in their contract to say, like, you know, if you ain't performing and you're told to perform, or sorry, not told. That's harsh. It is KTM, but if you are given the support and you're still not performing, why keep them? You know, and I get it. Like what we've seen with the Japanese, they've been extremely loyal to people. You know what I mean? Even when they shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
You know, but the European manufacturers are a little bit more straight to the point, I suppose, with it. You know what I mean? Now look, Aprilia.
Money, they don't have the luxury, you know, of toying around.
Like you do look at Aprilia. Aprilia were very loyal to Maverick. Like I realistically,
too loyal. I'll be honest with you.
Like realistically, Maverick, in my view, needs to take another 3 or 4 wins more this season before I would sign that contract. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for renewal? Yeah, straight. Yeah. It kills me how somebody has one good race and they're like, he's back, and and Mac and I are like, no. Come on.
That was the question that I asked, remember? Would you sign the contract? And a lot of people said no. But I didn't get accused of Maverick bashing that day.
Okay.
You know?
He's doing a lot better than Espargaro, Aleix. I think Aleix is, I think he's...
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time, yeah.
It's time.
It's what it is.
Yeah, the alarm clocks went off, as they say.
Yeah, it's not a big thing, but look,
no one beats Father Time.
Well, it's not no one beats Father Time. It's just you wonder, is the motivation still there? It's not about reactions and this, that, and the other, but it's, you know, you see him now off playing around with his family, enjoying life and going here and there and the other, and you're like, is that settling down kind of? Would he prefer to be at home at the weekend with his kids, chillaxing and having a bit of fun, or in a pressure cooker or MotoGP paddock?
Yes. He has 2 kids wait home.
Well, you know? They say the first 2 times you see Jesus is the first child and the second one. do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the 3rd time is that if you don't fucking listen, you meet a wall. So yeah, look, I think it's things are pretty up in the air with silly season, and I'm trying not to broadcast every stupid one that I do here, because, you know, today I'd say Mark is going here, tomorrow it'll be no, actually he's going here, and then you lose all credibility, right? Because like
what Marquez seen in Albuquerque, you know,
exactly,
Elvis, you know,
because like you have to remember as well, right? A lot of this stuff is actually put out by the riders' press agencies themselves.
And a lot of these things people do as clickbait, because they know that YouTube doesn't shut them down for it.
No, so forget that, right? Because that's just pure horseshit that people outside of the MotoGP world do, right? And you can't control that. But I am CB's manager, right? And I am talking to Ducati and Yamaha about his contract for 2025.
Okay.
Right? Ducati say to me, are you exclusively talking to us? Yes, only 100%. Only interested in joining Ducati. Yamaha asked the same. Do you know what I mean? Are you exclusively talking to? Oh yes, 100%. It's all Yamaha. And then I go out to the press and I leak it to a fella. Oh yeah, well, we've had a couple of inquiries, right? Or if Ducati have come back with a lower price, mega offer from Yamaha for CB's services for 2025, then I'm the manager. Yeah, well, look, you're actually right. No, we're not in the negotiations with them, but they've come in with a base offer, and the base salary is much more than and the price goes up with the contract, and that's literally how these fucking things go. But the rumor came from fucking CB's fucking manager that this happened. And what happens then, though, is the timing of the rumors cross over. Do you know what I mean? So by the time Ducati have found out that it's a mega offer from thing, then there's a mega offer from Ducati, and it just drives. Look, it's very good management, and it's good negotiating skills and tactics, but you know you cannot believe absolutely everything that comes out. Like, for example, you know, one of the things that we said when it was and we still say this, it's either Gresini or it's either Pramac is the source of where Yamaha is supposed to go. But we also said it mightn't be fucking either of them, because it mightn't fucking happen. But it was Lynn Jarvis stirring shit before he left the paddock.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to deal with it for next year.
Yeah. Now he swore
he's upset he's leaving.
Remember, he just swore that there was going to be another Yamaha team, and
he confirmed to the team, or he confirmed to the world in a press conference that there will be 4 Yamahas on the grid next season. Now, 4 Yamahas. Did he mean 2 show ones outside the garage, or did he mean? But you know what I mean. So, pinch of salt in the next 2 weeks with all of these rumors. And yes, the Jake, you're right. I've seen some this week on YouTube, and I've just literally rolled our eyes. And the thing with these clickbait ones, right? It's just like a good deal. If you believe it's too good to be true,
it is. Yeah.
If you believe that this is really amazing, and you can't believe this is actually going to be happening, probably not.
I love the way it says Mark Marquez kicked off of Gresini. Did you see that?
That sounds like clickbait.
And look, I'll be very honest. When I do see them, I click report and then I click hide this channel. Do you know what I mean? I just don't want to see it. Do you know what I mean?
I report. I hit report, but they just don't. The YouTube doesn't seem to give a rat's ass.
It does. Trust me, it does. I get a number of contacts every week from YouTube, especially about people trying to steal my stuff.
Can Yamaha bring in a brand new team?
Yep.
A satellite team?
Nope.
No.
There's only 2 spots left. Only 2 spots left, and that's for a manufacturer only. Now, it was interesting that KTM did come out last week and say that 6 bikes is too many and 4 bikes is optimal. So they're not going to go down the route of running another branded team.
I can see that. That's why I said I think Ducati's going to bite themselves in the ass, having all these bikes and having to develop another engine, a whole new motorcycle at the same time, right? Mm-hmm. It's just too much work.
But I think this is why they're kind of like it's not any extra additional work per se, right?
And they want to cut their budget down.
Well, no, you see, right? They have those 23 bikes there, right? They built 8 of those already. Is it 8? They built 4 of those already last year for the Pramac team and the thing, right? So the actual cost of those bikes is not actually that significant because they're already track proven and whatever, right? Where it gets complex is that if they deviate too far from that bike, then any development work that they're going to have to do is going to be specific to that bike. And that's where it gets thing. This is why I believe that they put them on what I class as the A spec bike. Do you know what I mean? Because the B spec bike is probably closer to the 25 or 24 bike. So that way, when they do the upgrade is free. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Next year, the 24 bike, they'll start off with the 24 A spec, and then midway through the season, they'll get the 24 B spec. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So their actual cost of development is 0. So it's actually moneymaker for them rather than a data exercise, of course, because they are getting tired data, to be fair. Anything else you want to go through, lads? We have this, and we're 2 weeks out from the TT. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I will be. Now, look, I encourage everyone to buy the TT Plus program thing that you can actually watch it live. I will be doing something old school. I'll be showing the world how I used to watch the Isle of Man TT.
You probably saw it on television. You probably saw it on television in Europe.
No. And this is one really, really amazing thing about the Isle of Man, right? Is like last year, maybe the year before, was the first time they only ever went digital. If you can believe that or believe it not. But it's an amazing island that they can stop stuff getting off it. So like if there was an incident or whatever, very rarely you'd actually hear about it. Do you know what I mean? It was like the whole place went dark, something bad happened. But normally, and herself could think, I'd have to go towards the bottom of my garden to be able to pick it up on the wireless radio. That's how I used to watch the TT. At home, I sit down the end of the garden and listen to it on the radio. And then they got a website for timing. I think it's gone now, though. So I used to listen to the radio, and then I used to watch the split times. But because the island was so big, it wasn't split times the way you would see split times. Do you know what I mean? It's really, really unique, and I do buy the the TT Plus or whatever it is. Obviously, like most people, I work during the week, so I don't get to see all the practices, and it's been great. It's great that you can tune in later on that evening and watch, like if you wanted to watch the Superbike practice or whatever, you could catch up on all the news, where a lot of the time Manx Radio TT was your only outsource of it. Do you know what I mean? And if you missed the live coverage, guess what? you didn't know what happened. Do you know what I mean?
I have a question, by the way. Yeah, I have a question when you're done.
Go on, yeah. Shoot away.
The new rules. One thing we don't that CB and I don't fully grasp is what is with the data they're sharing. What data are they sharing? They're talking about.
Yeah, that's really, really good, because there is actually no. I haven't seen in the tech regs yet what exactly is going to be shared. I originally thought it was just GPS data only, so like track position, sectors, stuff like that. I
would know where somebody else's bike is on the track.
So they know where their bike is. They would be able to replicate the rider lines, etc., like that. You know. Oh, okay. So you could track map someone. I did hear someone say that because they're all running the same ECUs, they could get a little bit more data based off of that. Now, I think that's very dangerous if it is. Do you know what I mean? So you could see maybe someone's throttle position, brake pressures, stuff like that going into certain places. Now, if that is the case, it's pretty weird, if I'm honest. Do you know what I mean? That a race series would open that sort of data up. But know
each other's crankcase pressures and
I don't think it would be down into that, because that engine related would be their IP.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas throttle position and brake pressure, modulation, brake sizes, do you know what I mean? I don't think that would be, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But even brake pressures and things, that's a lot.
Yeah, but you see, like, if you look at MotoGP, they use Brembo, right?
Right.
And Brembo just re-signed as the main brake disc caliper and whatever for the next whatever, right? So
again, anybody other than SR.
So again, but that's a common part then across everything. So that's kind of why I'm saying, Joe, that maybe brake pressure might be monitored in it because it's a common part, like tires. Do you know what I mean? Tire pressures, I would think, would be another thing that's going to be monitored or shown out in that monitor, etc. So that you can see, teams can start reporting people if they're under pressure or whatever.
Right, not more active with that.
Yeah. So
we need that like a piece of the clap.
Yeah, but it's so how would I say with these technical regulations that were announced, right? An awful lot of these technical regulations are just add-ons to the existing regulations that are there. So, like when the regulations, like what you didn't see in the regulations, like in when this was brought out, was like, okay, the circumference of the wheel rim has to be this, its width needs to be this. Do you know what I mean? Length of your forks, so they're all in the technical regulations then that are there. So these are just additions onto it, and I don't expect to see the 2027 full set of technical regulations for a couple of more months, and then that's when the devil comes into the detail of what exactly is going to be shared, and what they've just said is that a generic GPS data will be shared of what the teams know, and obviously they've agreed to it, but it's not actually down in black and white yet for the world to see, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Cooler booler.
I would assume they would need to do would they have to do testing to see, how all these rules and regulations translate into the track? Like, preseason, whatever stuff.
I think so. I think they will be, I think there will probably be some extra testing in 25, 26, I think, but it will be restricted to the 27 spec engines and bikes and stuff like that.
Right.
But again, that is
because we're going to see those bikes at the end of 26. That Valencia test would be the new.
I would say Misano.
Okay.
So you have Misano. Maybe you would see some of their concepts earlier, maybe Mugello, but I think you would definitely see one of them early next year, and then I think you'd see a fairly advanced spec, by Misano, and then Valencia would be a really, really detailed spec. And then obviously we have the short testing period. I think that testing period running into the start of the season may be a bit longer. Might be 5 or 6 days or 7 days rather than 3 days or whatever it is. So I think they will give them the opportunity to go there. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they come up with.
Yeah.
It's too bad we didn't start that with a contest of when Marquez have his first win.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can still do it because he hasn't won a race yet.
He's probably going to win this. I can see him. Very much see him winning this weekend. At this point.
Now, well, yeah, it's interesting.
I would say Germany. Are they going to Germany?
Yeah, well, Germany is probably
I would say Germany.
I don't know. I would be pretty excited about the sprint this weekend. I think Spain balls to the wall, and he is Catalan, kind of. Is it? I think he is Catalan.
Oh yeah, yep. July.
So I think he'll really want to go for it. I think it's going to be a difficult race for Martin. He does need another double though, just really stamp his authority on it. Pecco, I don't know. I have good feelings about Pecco as well. I think Pecco needs to he needs to have a win, but he also needs to have a win at this circuit, because we all remember what happened this circuit last year when he got rolled over. Yeah, so I think he needs to. I think he needs to banish those demons. You know, and there's no better way to banish those demons than win a race. You know, so. I think we're in for some fireworks, and then of course Acosta. You know what I mean? You know, he's learned his lesson from Le Mans. I'd say he got a bit of a bollocking, to be honest. So I can't really wait to see what he does. Like, even if he crashes out of every single race next for the rest of the year, right? He's already done far more than ever expected that he would do. That a rookie would do, right? Like, he's supposed to crash every race.
Yeah,
he's supposed to.
Part of the deal.
Your first year, figure yourself out, and away you go. So it will be very interesting. For me, sprint race winner will be Mark. Main race winner will be Pecco. That's where I am going.
I'm of course going to go Martin for the sprint, and I'm going to go. Marquez for the main race.
Come on, CB no, Fabio.
I would love to say Fabio.
It's not gonna happen, though.
I'm gonna go. It's hard not to go Martin for the sprint, but I think for the main race, I think Maverick. I think Aprilia does good in Catalonia.
Does?
Wow, you're sticking it out there, aren't you? Oh,
yeah,
I love my Aprilias, as you can tell.
Aprilia showing. They're showing something. Well, I don't want to say they, but Maverick is showing a little something. I think he just needs to fully commit to winning. I don't know, or I don't know. I think he's afraid. I think he has a little bit of fear.
The heebie-jeebies?
The jeebies. Yeah, something is on his back. He needs to shake it off and just commit to the winning.
You ever have those guys? You're gonna go take a ride for the day, and all of a sudden you got the heebie-jeebies, and you got to jump. Do it anyway. Yep.
Mm-hmm. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be, kid.
Yeah, I don't say it stops me, okay? But every once in a while I get that,
right.
Yeah. Often. But that's where like I'm very superstitious, so that's where my old superstitions come in. Do you know what I mean? So even if I do get the heebie-jeebies, I've done my things, and away off I go.
If I get the heebie-jeebies, I double check everything: tire pressure. I'm checking the oil, the coolant.
And that's where you find your problem, and then you're like, I was going to be checking them. Yeah, no, I just do my things, and if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
I just go, screw it, jump on it.
Screw it, jump on.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll deal with it. It's kind of like that thing. It's kind of like that feeling that you. I don't know. Have you ever had this, right? But you're kind of motoring within the speed limit, of course, and we come onto a straight bit that that there's like a maybe a 90-degree right-hand turn or left-hand turn, and just as you're approaching the speed limit, you you need to brake late for the corner. You kind of just before you brake, you're like, what would actually happen if my front brake failed?
Mm-hmm.
So did that ever happen to you when you're on the bike and just like, if I pull this
that's a new one on me. I've never had that one.
And then you're like, stop fucking thinking like that. Stop fucking thinking like that. You know what I mean? And then it's happened to me a few times now. I was like, what the fuck would I do if this fails? Like, because you don't have two levers. Like, do you know what I mean? So. Well, I suppose you do. You have your front and rear brake, but your rear braking going to slow you down.
It's not. Yeah. Once you get past that first turn, that first tight turn or whatever it is, and you're like, okay, we're good. I made it. We're good.
Yeah. Brakes are up to temperature. It's fine.
By the way, Moto is taking up this the slack for Kawasaki. Using the Kawasaki engine in World Superbike next year. I checked out the chassis. Nice chassis on that. Real nice chassis. So if they can get the same motor, believe it or not, they might do better than most. Than all of us is thinking. Being such a small company.
We'll see.
Here for such a little company.
It'd be interesting to see. To be fair,
it's a bottom base is aluminum billet, and then the top is this chrome moly steel tubing.
Oh, the tubular.
Yeah.
Might
It's similar to the MV, which when tuned right, when they got it set up right, was the best on the field. Problem is they're very hard to get right. You got to have a guy that knows his stuff.
It's tubing.
Set up right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leon Kamier was really good on that. Remember how well he did? But when somebody else got on the bike, it was like the guy was.
But didn't he go to Honda and get thrown out of it again then?
Yes.
Look, it'll be really, really interesting. I can't wait to see the Moto, to be honest, to actually see it in full race. How would I say? Full race.
Moto calls it a sport tour.
Mm-hmm.
But Moto calls it a sport tour. Ironically. Yeah.
And actually, it was funny, the way the last weekend we were talking about exclusivity and all of these with Ducati brands and whatever. It's the 30th anniversary, I believe, of Senna this month, or whatever, Ayrton Senna.
Mm-hmm.
Ducati have launched a special run of their bikes, the Senna special. There's only 341 of them being made.
Oh, we were talking about that.
But do you remember what I was talking about with Ferrari? The last stage out of to make a weird number and that's it. And here they go again Ducati go again for doing that special one for Senna.
I gotta give it to them. Their marketing stuff that they do, man, it's up to par. They know what they're doing with the marketing and these exclusive what are they called? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, they're on top of it.
Yeah, they are, and it's all about exclusivity, to be fair.
Yeah,
and and the final bombshell is as well. If you live in New York and you want to go and see Ireland, there's a portal from New York to Ireland. So it's like a live camera. And it was shut down last week because an OnlyFans model flashed her tits through the portal from one side of the world to the other side of the world. So,
oh, man.
What?
Yeah. So, yeah. So, if you get yeah, and look, it's I think New York and Dublin. You're lucky it doesn't. People are lucky that it doesn't go to our place, because like every fella walking past that portal would be fucking sticking their arse out into it. So anyway, yeah, but apparently it's like, so you could be in wherever it is in New York and you could look at the street in Dublin. And
Dublin
could look at the street in New York.
It's those things on the side of the road where you can see different countries and areas or whatever. Yeah.
It's one of those portals in there. But it got shut down.
I'm old, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it got shut down anyway because everyone started flashing their tits.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the well-known MotoGP analyst stated that he had heard a guy say, they said, asked a Dorna representative, well, what do you think of Martin? Who do you think is going to go for Martin or Pecco, or who's going to get a seat? Martin's who's going to grab the seat for the second seat? And what about Martin? Do you want Martin? He goes, well, Martin's good as long. I don't care where he goes, as long as it's not Ducati, because we want Ducati to be weak. And this analyst went, you know what? I don't think they should be picking who gets what, who's strong.
I don't believe that at all.
No, I do. Not this guy. They're Yeah, somebody slipped up on that one.
No.
Or we just talking about that?
There's no one that fucking stupid and dore that out to turn around and put that out publicly.
Well,
and if they are,
somebody, yes.
If they are, they're fired. They're well fired. I don't believe it for a second.
We were talking about that. Like, it would be the most perfect ideal situation would be Marquez at like KTM and then Jorge at Aprilia. You know, it'd be nice to see, you know, the aliens kind of spread out and fighting with different manufacturers at the top. But we know that's not, you know.
Well, look, let's be fair. And much people will fucking hate what I say, but if you're Jorge Martin, Marc Marquez, Maverick Vinales, or anyone else on the grid, and you were offered a factory Ducati ride, there's one thing you would understand here. That you have just been offered a potential chance to win the 2025 MotoGP World Championship with the best bike. And I don't... And that's it, right? And every single rider out there, hope and dream would be to land that seat. And there's not one rider out there. And this is why Ducati can be as fucking picky as they want.
Yeah.
They hold the cards because they own the seat.
Yep.
And you can be Marc Marquez or Jorge Martin or whatever. You want that seat. More so than anything else. And this is why I believe Martin is throwing his toys out of the pram, is because he wants his answer. You know, and
in his case, he already has the best seat in the house.
Listen, like I truly do not understand the Cal Crutchlow syndrome. Do you know what I mean? And we talked about this. It needs to be a factory bike. It needs to be factory team. It needs to be. Man, you're winning races. You scored 49 more points than you did this time last year, and they think you don't need anything. You want. And if my young fella came in the door to me and said, "Dad, I want 100 fucking euros," or "I need 100 euros," he's going to get two very different responses.
Right.
Because if he says, "I need it," I'm going to say, "For what?" And if he says, "I want it," I say, "Go fuck yourself."
He's a mean dad, but
But no, because any fucker that comes into me and says, "I want something," you want something off me, you can fucking ask me for it.
Yes.
Not tell me I want it, because I want equals I do not get.
See, in America, you just got hit for some kind of a charge, child abuse charge for just saying that.
Facts.
Saying no to your kid. You know.
Yeah.
But you can, that's everywhere though. With any business, any whatever, if you feel like you're excelling above the competition, you're going to tell your employer, "Hey, give me the best of the best." You know, I won't, if there is a position that's open that's higher, you're going to say, "Hey, I deserve that. My numbers are high. I'm hitting my marks. I deserve it." So I'm not really surprised that he's saying that. I mean, he could have worded it better. But
I've always spoken about the wording, that the translations might sometimes not be the best from where these things come from, right? But I suppose where I look at it is that if you're, how would I say, if you're in a company that offers the best packages in the world, so best pay, best this, best that, best the other, and you know that there's a job up and coming and there's 5 candidates for that job, and you walk up to your boss and you say, "I want that job."
They're going to say, "Why? Why should we give you this position?"
Right.
Well,
how many world championships have you won? But that's it. Like, you know what I mean? What's your experience? Okay, the person that you're up against has 8 world championships or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
he's a known prick in the way of some things. You're a known prick, kind of level on that, right? So there's so many things like I get what you're saying, that it comes across that you're hungry for the position and this and that and the other, and that's a very, very good thing. But I would look at it as a manager, right? And I do this every day, day in, day out, right? And I deal with high performing teams of people and stuff like that, right? And when I'm hiring for that position, you might be the most qualified, but you will also disrupt my team so much with your attitude.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm now looking at my team and saying, when I'm hiring for that position, it's like, what is this team missing? Because if I bring in 10 hungry people into a sales thing, yes, it will drive on sales, but it will create a toxic environment that will drive attrition from the team. So therefore, I'm struggling always to try and make those numbers, because I'm trying to find good, strong salespeople. So it's not a simple question of bring Martin in or bring Marquez in. There's also about how do you keep that level or that high performance level up there. If it is, like, for example, and I'll put it another way to you, Ducati share the data from everyone, right? I know it in the days of Formula One, for example, Ayrton Senna used to get special engines off Honda, right? And on the crate, it would say to Ayrton, though from Japan or whatever, right? But his fucking teammate, Alan Prost or whoever at the time, wasn't getting special treatment engines and whatever. Do you know what I mean? Nigel Mansell and Nelson Piquet used to start keeping or start bribing and paying Mansell's race engineers to tell him the setup that they were using and this and that and the other.
No.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
really? Now that's
but
I would think that they would have the team would have a shit fit over that.
But exactly. But you see, with satellite teams in this sort of situations, they have a Ducati man in there that will take that data back. Whereas two sides of the same garage going at it, when Mark rolls out and say Pecco, they're not going to tell each other what setup they're running.
But I thought, I thought that Ducati did share setups.
They share the data after.
Oh, after? I mean, like after the race, they don't share it beforehand.
Yeah, well, they would have an idea. They would have, because each rider is individual, so they're going to know, and they're going to look at the data and say, okay, the tires are going to last 9 laps. Right. This is what we're seeing across whatever. But the engineering setting that you're doing on your bike for your rider is going to be slightly different to that rider. So it's not going to comprehend, but they're using the past data to engineer forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I would think that they would do it. That would all be free and open, just because.
But it currently is. It currently is, because the fella that's inside in Gresini, or the fella that's inside in Pramac, is bringing that information back. But you could be guaranteed that if the two boys are battling for it in a factory team, or even in, let's just say, hypothetical chance, Franco Morbidelli versus Jorge Martin.
Okay.
Championship heats up. They're not going to be sharing what setup they run. Sorry, they won't share the pre-race setup that they're going to run for that race. So if they're going to run that race and they're going to say to Martin, you're going to go hard for 8 laps. We set the suspension like this. Do you know what I mean? You need that 8 laps between lap 8 and lap 10 or whatever. You're going to start driving over pressure or whatever. So you need to do this. So his bike setup is not going to be shared with Pecco let's just say it's Martin and Morbidelli, and they're battling for the championship. There will not be no two-way cross before the race of this is the setup that we're going to run. The minute the race starts, bang, that's the setup we're on. Guaranteed. 100%. Because technically, like every rider is different weight, different height, different inseams, well, whatever. So the setup is naturally going to be different, right? So the strategy and how they're approaching the race will be slightly different. But what they can look at is, and we've heard this a couple of times from Pecco as well, especially with the chatter and thing. He's like, I'm going to look at the other lads' data and see, are they doing it? So it's only retrospective data that they're looking at. They're not looking at it. Now, if they're testing for tires or trying to figure it out on an open test, they may have a test plan to say, we're going to do 3 runs. One of these runs is actually going to be on the tire combination, this and this. Do you know what I mean? And another thing might do that. So they do planned things. But again, it's just I don't see it being very free and open sharing if there's 2 roosters in the hen house, you know.
I can see it.
I'm surprised nobody's chasing Aprilia more than they are.
How do you mean?
It just seems like the Aprilia is the redheaded stepchild of Ducati as far as
it would be, yeah.
For what, you know, for everybody's waiting on Ducati, and nobody's, you know, then it's Aprilia after that.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants that seat.
Nobody's seems to be knocking on KTM's door.
Well, see, KTM is one of those really fractious ones there, right? Realistically, because 90% of the world already believe that the only seats are going to be available are gas seats. Which I think is right. I think they're going to be the 2. I think it would be crazy. The only way I don't see Pedro Acosta going to the KTM factory team is if Mark goes there. It's personally it, but anyway. Anyway, I think on that bombshell, we'll leave it there for this week. We will be back again next week after the Catalunya race, and sure, we will see you then.
All right.
Take it easy, folks.